Oh shit, it's Craig.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cross Media Show, where we talk about TV and movies. Today, I'm sorry, guys, I'm still working on this intro. This is the second episode. Don't judge me. Today, I have. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I have a whole panel of guest hosts, and I'm very excited for it. Number one, we have that Mario Rivera.
It's
Hello.
that.
How you doing?
Hey,
Yeah.
how's it going? I am that one. I am that
Yeah.
Mario.
How you doing, Mario? You've had a hectic week.
Yeah, had a hectic week. Just trying to find ways to keep it on going. So
Okay,
see
well-
see how that goes.
Thank you. Okay, well, I don't know why I said thank you. Thanks for showing up. Like I said, I know it was short notice, but I appreciate you giving me the time.
Yeah, no, I'm glad and happy I finished our subject of today early enough. So we're like, yeah, definitely we can do this.
Cool.
So, thank you.
No, thank you. Second host, we have Frank.
Hello. I found out I could do this with my eyebrow.
Okay.
I hope this is not an audio.
I've
only
also
thing.
watched
This is an audio.
Is it? So you can't see what I'm about to do with my eyebrow, but
It's
How are
like the Rock.
I guess
I guess no, I don't know.
Okay.
I was doing it more intensely earlier. I'm losing the muscle mass.
It's more Jim Carrey than The Rock.
Yeah, it is more Jim Carrey than the Rock.
That's
And then finally, we have Fiona,
Hello.
aka Fee. How you doing
AKA
today,
Fee,
Fee?
yeah. I'm doing pretty good. Doing good. It's autumn.
It's
yeah.
what?
It's autumn?
Okay.
Oh no, there was a pun in there, wasn't there? There was.
For who? For me or for her?
Anybody? I heard otter. don't
I
know
also
why.
heard otter. That's why I said it. That's why I said, wait, what?
There's autumn.
I said autumn, like fall?
Okay.
The
No,
season.
no, wait, I understand.
Nobody really calls it autumn anymore, though. People call it fall.
I do. I call it autumn.
It's a Canadian thing, I
It's
guess.
Fallum.
No, it's not.
I heard the word otter in there. That's why I got scared. I was like, oh, it's on
Oh my
brand.
god. No, I was not making an otter pun. I know that's like my brand apparently, but no, I did not say otter.
I mean, it literally is your brand because you have it as
is.
you have an otter as your Discord channel. No, Discord.
I do.
Yeah.
Some great otters.
Yeah.
Lots of good otters.
The best otters.
Oh.
Well,
You can
okay.
see otters like these, sir.
No, of course not. Today we're here to talk about The Boys season 2. And God almighty, I don't know what's been better on TV
Yeah.
than The
I can
Boys.
name a
Nothing.
few things, but it's fine.
Mario, what do you
What?
have?
How?
Name
How
a few
are-
I
things.
mean, Blind Manor's fantastic.
Never heard of it.
Oh my god, The Watchmen. Did you watch Watchmen? Watchmen.
I
was
did
Oh,
awesome.
that
watch
was this
Watchmen.
year.
Oh my
Damn,
God,
that
you
was
and the
still this
Watchmen.
year.
No, it wasn't this year. It was last year.
Oh, okay, was it? Never
Yeah.
mind.
I'm just saying. It's still
Was it-
good at all times.
No, but what I meant was like
I know,
currently.
I'm
Yeah,
kidding. I'm
okay.
kidding.
Okay.
Wow.
So, what did you guys think of The Boys season 2? Sorry, real big brain fart there.
Who's going first? Who wants
Mario's
to
gonna
talk
go
about it?
first.
Oh shit. Okay, because I always speak up first.
Yeah.
Boys season 2. I was a massive fan of what they did with the first season because as someone who honestly I didn't read the comics until the show, right before the show actually was about to come out. And I
Okay.
decided to dabble into it. And while there are certain aspects of it I actually do like, I'm so happy that the show kind of takes a massive pivot away from a lot of it, primarily because I think that a lot of it hasn't aged well. I think a lot of the themes are there, but in terms of what they actually do and what they show in the comic book itself, I just don't think it holds up in the same way that I like how much like the movie Kick-Ass diverges from the book as well, because I also find things in that book to be try-hardy or in terms of like shock for shock's sake for them to then pivot away and make a better product overall. Of course, unless of course you like Kick-Ass 2, which pivots back into the comic, which I thought was terrible. But in terms of The Boys I think does a fantastic way of introducing the world to Billy Butcher and to obviously Frenchie and all the other Mother's Milk, like all those characters, and fleshing them out in different ways that I think that is far more appealing than their comic book counterparts, personally. So by the time we reach the season 2, we're following the fallout, obviously, of everything that has happened, in a much more way of like figure out, okay, where is Billy at this moment? What's going on with the boys? How are the families being dealt with, in terms of that? Like, how in the hell could they possibly get out of the situation that they put themselves in? And I think that by the time we reach the end of season 2, I think that we actually have a pretty solid second showing of these characters, including what are some hints of like what could be in the future. I will say, in the middle of the season, I got very scared in terms of what they were about to approach. But luckily, from their execution, I don't know if we don't go spoilers right away, so I'm going to save it till later.
I say fuck it. Let's just go with the spoilers.
Yeah, we've all seen it. We've all seen it.
I know we've all seen it, but maybe whoever's listening to this.
I gave everybody a week. Like if you haven't watched,
a week
that's
is all they
kind of
need.
on you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
all you need.
All right, then I'll point out. Okay. Well, I was going to do that, and then we can go into it individually. But anyways,
Okay.
I'll say that the part that scared me the most is the moment that wow, I forgot her name.
Stormfront.
From front.
Went from being this sort of like woke Instagram person to
Yeah.
just being a complete racist. Obviously, the more that episode alone made me pause for a second because she was doing something pretty absolutely fucked up, from dialogue to actions to everything in that moment. Obviously, you learn a little bit more of why she's doing that, and it's still as the story was going along, I was afraid that they were not going to nail what I wanted them to nail. And by the end of the season, I think they expertly done what I needed them to do in order to feel not okay with what they did, because it's still fucked up, but in terms of like the catharsis that I needed for them to handle that situation, and what they obviously tease for future. So I'm gonna go ahead and let someone else speak.
Okay. Thank you for that. Frank, what did you think?
So I've been thinking a lot about The Boys ever since we decided to jump on this. It's a season where, so like Mario, I read the comics after the show, and I will say don't ever read the comics because they're terrible. This show has, for one, nothing to do with the comics other than maybe the characters themselves, but even the characters have different motives in those, like in the comics, than they do in the show. So I wouldn't recommend reading the comics at all. Watch the show because it's great. But I was thinking about just like the overall theme of the show and how these characters grew, and I noticed, and I could be totally wrong on this, but it seems like everybody has their own very much big version of what humanity means to them in the show. We get definitely, even though Homelander is a big giant piece of shit, you start seeing glimpses of humanity like shine throughout the whole season. You start to feel a little sad about him, because you realize he never really had a chance to be human. He was always Homelander from day one. He was always the big shit. And now that he's starting to get dumbed down a little bit, you start to see like maybe there's still a child under there. And you start to see Billy Butcher in a different light, where in season 1 he was just the badass killer. In this season, you start to learn more about him and his motives, like who he is, why he does this. Same thing with Frenchie. Same thing with Himiko. Same thing with I always forget his name.
Mother's Milk.
No, not Mother's Milk too.
Huey.
Yeah, with his daughter, and then Huey. Especially more with Huey too, because you start to see like he really has nothing left, and this is all he has left, and he's sticking with it in his own way. He may not be killing everybody like Butcher is, but he's definitely sticking with it and showing everybody he's just as good as them, but without having to lose his sense of humanity in the process.
Well, I just want to backtrack for a second. When you say that, crap, I'm forgetting his name.
Homelander?
Yes, Homelander.
Yes.
Homelander, I think one of the most poignant moments for this season was when Homelander is talking to Rebecca, and he's saying, like, I never had a chance to, like, I was always stuck in a lab with all these doctors. I never had a chance to figure out, like, how life really is. That moment hit me hard, and I'm sure it was just like a show for Rebecca, but like there was obviously some truth to that, and for me, that was like probably my favorite moment in this season. just because like you saw a side of Homelander that you don't really see.
Yeah, he definitely started to feel more human than just superhero. Maybe because he was getting taken off of his pedestal. But like even the scene where like he tells Stormfront, "Hey, I want to meet you in my cabin," and she doesn't show up, and he's sitting there, and he's like, you can see visually like nervous, visually uncomfortable. You know, making sure everything's perfect for her. This is probably maybe his first time he's ever truly fallen in love. So it's just like you can tell like he's nervous. He's got feelings, you know what I mean? And most of the time you see Homelander on screen, he's just this stoic dude who's just like unmovable, and you start seeing him move a little bit in the show.
Sure.
Absolutely.
I do have my reservations
Yeah.
with that character specifically. And honestly, it has to do with I mean, I have to understand this man's mental state because so far all I've seen him be is a homicidal maniac. And obviously, this is the few times that we've seen some humanity in certain ways. At the end of the day, it's just funny because you see this man who acts like a child, and he's clearly, obviously, like in his like what mid-30s. I think we're supposed to assume. And as someone who's still developing as a human being, part of me is like, man, I got over some shit before this man did, and it's hard for me to relate for him on that way. That's why when it comes to like stuff like this of like humanizing a villain, I think there are definitely have been better examples of this. Watch Blind Manor, but otherwise, I do still find Homelander interesting as a presence and voice in a room.
Let's get back to that because I like what you're saying that like he definitely should be getting over a lot of things by his age, but I think I know why, but we'll get back to that.
Yeah, but definitely as a presence in a room. Whenever he's in, I'm scared.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
I do not know what will happen next, and that's why when I saw like the scene with him and Starlight, I was terrified because I'm like, this is not the end of her. There's no way. But yeah, it was fascinating, but definitely excited to hear what everybody else saying, what Fee has to say, obviously, on the rest of the show.
Yes. Fee, what did you think of this season of The Boys?
I thought it was mind-blowing, but
mind-blowing. Oh my god,
I knew there was a pun.
God damn it, Fee.
I had a feeling that as soon as we mentioned the otter, she was thinking, how can I incorporate
How long
this?
were you holding that? You had to have been holding on to that for a little bit.
I had it in my notes.
Oh my god.
There you go. There you go.
Like I have like all the characters listed, and the very first thing I have is mind-blowing quotations and like bold because I'm like, that's like I thought the overall progression from season 1 to season 2 was really well done because there are a lot of shows where they get a lot of hype. Season 1 does really well, and then like season 2, they either like do much better than like typically it's one of those things where season 1's not great but season 2's fantastic. But I was worried because sometimes they like hold on the crutch like, oh, season 1 was great, so we don't have to put too much effort into season 2 because it's like other instances where like things just kind of like go AWOL. But cases like this, like they did really well. It was consistent almost to a point where it was even better than season 1, which I was like slightly worried that they weren't going to be able to accomplish it. But with the storylines and the introduction to Stormfront, Stormfront, I think it was a really good like introduction from like kind of a silly character to like you actually seeing what's behind the Instagram influencer. So I think overall, like great season. I will be honest, like season 1, I was very concerned about Homelander. Season 2, I was more terrified of people's heads exploding. Like, I think we watched like the last 3 episodes. Frank and I watched them, and I like was terrified. Like, I watch horror films. I enjoy them quite a lot, and I've never been that scared watching a show expecting someone's head to explode, especially after the second to last episode. Like the last episode, I just was on the edge of my seat the entire time because it was the unknown. And I think that was more terrifying than Homelander because like you said, he was almost becoming human this season because of his transition. And we'll definitely talk about that. But I think that there was a lot of progression from the characters and then kind of moving either to a different direction or really like showing us another side of each and every person, not even just like the 7, but also the boys.
Yeah, and I will say, like in terms of you bringing up the head exploding in the season, that was the one thing I'll say that I'll mark against the show, and it's not that the idea of it. I loved it. It was the reveal of who it was. I would rather
Yeah.
have not known, to be honest. I would rather it moved on to season 3, and we just saw Huey go into that office, not understanding what the danger he is in. Because now that's all I'm going to think about. I was like, all right, what is that going to mean? But other than that, that's it. That's my only caveat on that. It's just like, I wish I still didn't know. I wish it was still carried on. I was like, what is this mystery of this head exploding thing? But otherwise,
Honestly,
there's definitely a bigger mystery there too.
Well, yeah, we still don't know anything
Yeah.
about her.
Because there's
but
two
I just didn't
people
want
who
to
can
know.
do that.
Correct.
On the-
Yeah.
Two people who can do that.
Who's the second person?
The girl from the asylum.
She can make her head explode. I don't remember doing
She
it.
did. She
No,
remember
can
she
make
was.
Yeah.
things explode.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
So how are they all interconnected? Is
Yeah.
the
Sure.
How does
Yeah.
that? Is yeah.
And she's obviously might be coming back, I assume.
Yeah.
Let's hope.
Oh,
Head
yeah.
exploding contest. Who can explode the most heads?
She's
Oh God. Yeah, I think that this season, well, next season is going to be even crazier than what we assume. Because I'm reading from collider.com. Looking forward, Star said that he doesn't really know where season 3 might go, except for literally 2 words from the creator, Eric Kripke, homicidal maniac. That
Yeah.
scares the bejesus out of me.
So, do
Like-
you know who's gonna show up this season?
What do you mean?
So, in terms of like actor,
Who they cast.
Oh yeah, Jensen Ackles is going to pop up, and I'm very
my
excited for
God.
that.
yeah,
So
Jensen
So excited.
Ackles.
I'm excited to see him post Supernatural to see what that's going to be. Because as much as I love him on the CW network, I'm excited to see him on a greater capacity. The only other time we really had that was from a horror movie remake called Bloody Valentine.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. My Bloody Valentine? No, what was it? Yeah, My Bloody Valentine?
That was My
Everyone?
Bloody Valentine.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see him on a capacity, especially if he's going to be like a Captain America character on this show. So
It's
he's
gonna be
definitely going to
amazing.
clash with what's his face with Homelander. So we'll see how that
Yeah.
goes.
With Homelander, like according
Yeah.
to like some people, like especially like people who've like reviewed the comic, and also I guess some people that have looked at the script, apparently his character is going to be even more crazy than Homelander. So
Yeah.
Which-
because they're on like a different group,
Sure.
Yeah, and it's crazy
which I
because
want.
how crazy could somebody
Well-
be? And like what I'm trying to say, how crazy could you be if you're crazier than Homelander?
Yeah. I mean, think of it this way. If you recall the whole season, there's a lot of like slight little jabs at what's currently going on in our current events, and seeing how Jensen Ackles is going to play a Captain America character, I
Mhm.
guarantee you that man is going to be as radical American as you can possibly get.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah,
in terms of our
Homelander up a
current
notch.
state. Yeah, like super like far right or something like that. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure, because it was introduced with Stormfront as well, because she
Yeah.
kind of went near the end. Obviously, it got a little bit on the racial term. Like you could obviously like no shocker, and we've already discussed the fact that there's like spoilers, the fact that she was a Nazi, and then like
Yeah.
seeing her side of like America needs to be white, which is an completely utter like it's very connected to what's happening right now, especially in the US. And I think that
Yeah.
one, it was a really good time to actually post that show that particular character, but then just like the overall progression from like, oh, she's like a really nice character to, oh, she's actually this other superhero, and then seeing this. I definitely apologize. I forget her name. They went down
Like
and
Liberty
visited this
something.
particular girl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Liberty Bell.
Oh yeah, yeah, she's Liberty Bell, but she went to a particular girl who was affected by Liberty because
Yes.
her brother was beaten, and she was talking. I don't want to essentially like get into too much detail, but it was definitely really like
It was brutal. Yeah.
it was brutal for sure. So I think that it was like Frank said, it's really reflecting on what's happening currently, and it's
Yeah.
a really good time to show it. Even though it's not a great topic whatsoever, obviously, it's
No,
still
no.
good to like have
We're-
that representation.
There's so many things happening right now in media that's bringing this up again and having this be in conversation. I brought Watchmen up is 100% that, and then Lovecraft Country, which I'm actually falling in love with every episode because it's just getting more and more involved in both of my loves of both science fiction and in terms of horror fantasy, but then bringing it down into modern, tropes of what it means to be a black person in the Jim Crow era. And honestly, that show is doing a fantastic job. I thought, like I said, I was scared of what this show can do because I didn't know the show could handle it, and I think it did a good job. Though I think there are better examples
For sure.
media, of course, but still, I think the show handled what it needed to say, and I don't think that character's dead. I think that character's gonna be a big ass problem in the third season.
Yeah.
She might get the Dark Vader
Yeah.
treatment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking. Because
Did
we don't
anybody
really
read what
know,
she
you
said?
know.
I didn't. So
I was
heard her-
definitely cheering.
Yeah. Oh my god, girls get it. Girls really do get it done, or something. Whatever they say. They
Yeah.
beat the living shit
Yeah.
out of her.
I wanted to talk about what I thought was my favorite storyline, which was the Deep.
Oh really?
Really?
Oh
Yeah,
my
just because like
God, no.
it's such lighthearted. It's such so lighthearted compared to everything else that's happening, and I just feel like this
It's
man
not
can't catch a break. You know?
Yeah.
But he's just
Yeah.
he just can't do it because he is fundamentally an asshole. Even when he like is redeemed in some way, and even that last episode where he's sitting there with I forgot the
A-Train.
A-Train, and he's just like fuck this guy like immediately.
Yeah,
Just
fuck
go,
this guy.
go.
I'm out. I'm A-Train. I'm back in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So it's just
Yeah.
like that's fucking fuck Fresca. The joke of the fuck Fresca that was hilarious.
Perfection.
Was great.
Perfection.
Guys, it was fantastic. I will say I'm watching another show called The Vow, and it's about Nexium, the sex cult. And very much I thought this was going to have a lot of parallels with it because a lot of what's in that documentary is also in this, where it's the same thing of like being indoctrinated in this like small sub society almost and having status. And then basically the moment someone becomes problematic, they're immediately like pushed out.
That's it. You're out. That's it.
Yeah, so-
Get out of here.
And I was just like, this is getting
Yeah.
very close to that. And I'm getting a little terrified that they're bringing it up for this. But other than that, yeah, I was like seeing parallels between the both shows. And I was like, yikes.
Yep. Frank, what did you think of the Deep storyline?
I like the like small little like change of pace because like the show really kind of moves really quick, and when it comes to like those scenes, it kind of slows it down a little bit and like lets you laugh a little bit. But like I didn't like all of the scenes personally. I felt some of them were like super slow, some of them were just like not funny at all.
Yeah.
I did like it when the heroes were interacting with like other heroes, like when Maeve had the Deep, find a camera for her, or like when the Deep is actually interacting with A-Train, or even the the Arsenal clone.
And you just funny, you just blew up my mind. Yeah, the Arsenal clone's great.
Yeah.
You just blew my mind that's exactly what happened because I forgot that she asked him for something, and I thought it was going to be the stereotypical like everyone is touting me as gay. We're just going to turn out that we're going to have a scandal together. Like I was afraid that it was going to go that route. And glad
I'm
it
really
didn't.
glad it did not.
I'm
yeah.
so glad it did, but you just broke my mind.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, that's what happened. The Deep probably went down, found some camera because that phone did not look like a normal camera. It looked like
I
No,
thought
it
it
was
was
a
a
GoPro.
GoPro.
It was a
Yeah.
GoPro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck, I had the GoPro on the.
She had the GoPro, and then that was really weird that they were filming this. Like your plane's about to go down, but you're filming this. But
Well,
anyway,
think of it this way: like
Yeah.
if you're about to go down, right, in a plane, and
Yeah.
fucking Homelander
Yeah.
and Maeve show up, you're pulling out that camera, and be like, "Bro, we're saved!" And then you're like, "Oh shit, we're gonna die."
okay, I could see that. Yeah, in
Yeah.
a world of superheroes, you gotta have.
Yeah.
No, I can
camera
see that. I was just like, who the fuck has a GoPro? It doesn't matter. I won't be semantic, but that's okay. Now you actually connected a dot to me of like, how did she get that footage? And that makes total
Yeah.
sense. So
Fee, what did you think of the Deep? Oh, sorry, Frank.
Oh no, I was trying to think of what Mario said earlier that we were gonna come back to, but I can't remember now.
Oh boy. Okay,
Um,
we'll try to see if we could remember it.
Yeah, so the Deep. Here's the dealio. Typically, if there is an aquatic character, I'm super down. Aquaman, like
Fuck yeah.
Poseidon,
Worst.
Aqualad.
cool
Oh, fuck you. It
beans.
was awesome.
Okay, wait. We'll get back to that later.
Okay.
The Deep is probably my least favorite character in the entire series.
See.
He is so obnoxious, and I honestly, when I was watching it by myself, I sometimes would skip his scenes. Like I would just feel like I really can't with him because he like I'm sorry that I'm saying this, but actually no,
Okay.
I'm not sorry. Let's back
No,
it up. I'm
You
not
shouldn't
sorry.
be
No,
sorry.
don't be sorry. He's a shit.
I didn't enjoy him. Here's the thing. Like when I was a kid, I wanted to be a marine biologist. So seeing him naively take a whale to try to stop a boat and then get the whale destroyed and then be like, I didn't know this was going to happen. I'm like, you're an idiot. You are legitimately the biggest idiot.
I mean, did you really expect somebody to crash their boat into a whale?
I know I didn't. I
Here's the
did not
thing.
expect that at all.
Here's the thing. Like from the track record season 1 and then season 2, like you would think that the Deep would like be like, you know what? These guys have killed one of us. Like this is insane. Like this is insane. Shit's going down. Maybe I shouldn't risk the life of my best friend whale creature and then get him rammed in by a boat. Like it's so like I thought it was weird, and then like the whole Fresca thing was like okay, but then him spending an entire episode like feeling up his like fins and like gills, I was not down. I
that
thought it was
episode was
weird.
I'm not gonna lie, I felt
That
a
was-
little something during that.
that
part.
was the only part that I enjoyed. I mean, obviously the whale getting impaled by the boat was fucking, in my opinion, funny.
I thought it was also funny.
But the actual only part of his story that I enjoyed was him trying to rediscover himself, because that was the only human part of it. I know you're totally against it. It was the only human part of him about having deficiencies about yourself that I related to, that they didn't do enough of, because he's still a fucking massive dick, and he never got past that. That's my only.
Here's the thing.
I can say.
The only scene that I was just like, you know what? Finally, was the very last scene he was in and telling that like specific like cult to go fuck themselves. Like that was the
Sure.
only thing in that season that I'm like, you know what? Maybe there is some like progression, because for the past 2 seasons you've been a whiny little bitch boy, and I'm tired of it.
Yeah,
Like,
it's been annoying.
and
Some words.
he was so
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but he's very like I find that I'm gonna get really angry. He just
I'm sorry.
no. Here's the thing. Like, I want to have this conversation. I think that his progression was very like self-centered and consistently self-centered.
Yes.
Whereas we saw
yes.
progression with other characters throughout the season. Even Homelander, which I'm happy to talk about Homelander and his like character progression. It was just like he just seemed almost like stunted through the season, and the only
Oh, yeah.
progression we saw was when he left the cult. So
I agree.
that's
with you.
why so I think that I'm very hopeful for him for season 3. Like if he can redeem himself and not get a massive mammal, like a aquatic mammal, destroyed, I would be so happy for him.
Honestly,
so
that's the
happy.
only thing he could be used for, is for these terrible things that keep
He's
happening.
killed. I think he's killed more.
Dolphins,
like-
right?
Yeah, I think he's killed more animals
Yeah.
in the show than anybody else has.
But you see, for
The
me,
dolphin.
that's.
Okay.
Go ahead, V.
Oh no, I was just gonna list off all the
Yeah,
aquatic
no, go
life
ahead.
he's killed. Continue.
Yeah, no, continue. I want to see how many.
I want to hear his homicidal maniac.
Okay, so let's see. The dolphin that he proceeded to save and then get run over by a vehicle. There were a number of fish, I think, in season 1 that were mentioned. Then he had the lobster killed because he didn't realize that the lobster was going to get a knife through its head instantaneously. The whale.
I love that you have the
probably
list on hand.
Yeah, right. That's
Like-
what I was gonna say.
Mhm.
I forgot about that.
So, like,
Yeah.
he's just I don't know.
No,
Like,
he's
I
the
get
worst.
where he's
Is
coming-
it homicide if it's fish? Like, is there like a separate?
Here's the
that should
thing:
kill a
if
lot
he
of fish?
Fishicide?
considers himself
Fishicide?
like an aquatic being, so if he considers himself that, and
But he's not, though.
he's the representation for the ocean, that he's essentially taking creatures that he considers friends as either protection, or like in some childish way he thinks he's saving them, or like using them in like a good way, but obviously he's not. So I think
sure.
he needs some self-reflection season 3, and it's probably going to be him doing something really dumb, but that's fine.
Most
No,
likely.
100%.
Jerking off in the ocean or something.
I don't
Oh my god.
I
I mean, it would
honestly-
top
he-
the jerking off in the building.
If I had to rank the 7,
Mm.
he is
Okay.
the worst member of the 7 in terms of story.
Oh,
He's in terms of story and in terms of like what he's given to do. So far as Black Noir doesn't have a fucking line in 2 seasons, still far more interesting than The Deep.
he's
You know what I'm
just
saying?
dead, that's all we know.
Well, that's all now we know. And is he dead?
Yeah,
I don't think
that's
so.
all we know right
I
now.
don't think so. I think he's just like in a coma.
That's But yeah, I hate The Deep. I agree with you one wholeheartedly. The Deep sucks.
Okay, so if I, in my defense, I want to put out that I think that the Deep is supposed to be a parody character of what Aquaman or all the other like superhero
for sure.
water people.
Yeah,
I don't know.
are.
I don't know about Aquaman. I just
Aquaman is
It seems
a
pretty far from
literal waste
Aquaman.
of my life. Okay, I hate Aquaman.
What's
with
wrong with
passion.
Aquaman?
Aquaman's
He's
actually
just so pointless.
No, he's
no,
not.
actually, even in DC Comics, fuck Aquaman. Yeah, I said it.
Yeah,
Fuck
thank you.
Aquaman.
Fuck Aquaman.
Yeah,
Exactly.
You know what?
You heard
Fuck
it here
Aquaman.
first.
The movie's okay, but fuck him in the comics.
No, the movie was great. It
Yeah.
was
Oh
really
yeah,
good.
the movie
This
was
is fucking
Momoa-
terrible. What
Yeah.
the fuck's wrong with
Uh,
Aquaman?
Jason
the
Momoa
movie
is
was
a great
The movie was
Aquaman,
great.
but
This is
fuck him in the
the most
comics.
Uncharted like cartoon movie I've seen in a long
Oh,
The
I
time.
got a-
movie
I
was
got a hook
great.
for
It was just
her.
really long. But we're not here to talk about Aquaman the movie.
Yeah, fuck
I just
Aquaman.
feel like everybody shits on Aquaman, and I think
I
that I mean, like
I put
I mean,
mostly
I'm
respect
shitting
on
on
it.
him right now. Fuck Aquaman.
mostly everybody shits on Aquaman because he has no powers. You know, like
Yeah.
it's all fish related.
He talks
It's
to
all
fish.
fish related. Like, who wants a
And-
person that talks to fish?
I mean, they've given him some powers, but like,
Fishermen,
I mean,
fuckers.
I think Batman could just like throw gum on him and suck out all the moisture, and he's just like, oh, I guess I'm
Yeah.
done.
that's it.
Why
Like,
is Batman doing that? Everyone, whenever you bring examples of this, why is Batman
First
doing
off-
the terrible?
first off,
Because
Batman
they
shouldn't
attacked
do
him.
it.
They attacked Batman
I'd
right after
appreciate
Death
if
of
you
the
didn't bring
Family.
Batman into this because Batman is the greatest superhero
Batman
that
fucking
has ever known.
Hold on, is this cursing in your show?
Yeah, go
okay.
ahead.
If you say
Fuck
fuck
my
Batman,
fucking dick, Batman.
All right,
Oh
Mario,
my
we're
God.
kicking you out. That's it. You can't. You're no longer going to be.
Wow,
on
that's
the
a
show.
meme for
okay,
the streets.
Spider Cuts, you need to chill.
Wow.
Okay.
All right, there you go.
All right, back
So-
to the boys.
I think that they did the character the Deep perfectly. Like,
yeah.
yes, he was a dick in season 1. I don't think he was a dick that big of a dick in season 2. I think he was trying to get back to the being in the 7, and I think
Yeah.
he ultimately failed in what he was trying to do. But I think, like I said, it's the humor of the series. Like we don't really have much things to laugh at, but we know that there's definitely whenever there's a scene with the Deep, I know that I'm probably going to be laughing.
Yeah, I will agree there because like the show's very depressing in its like views and like how it shows you the superheroes.
Yep.
And like some like I do agree the like I said earlier too, the Deep's parts are more just like the slow down little bit
Yeah.
before like the calm before the storm, and then we just like we go back to the parts
Yeah,
you want to see.
but I feel like if you cut it out, the show would be far more interesting. Like I feel
Oh,
like
I don't think
even though
so.
it is the quote unquote slowdown, you can give all the slowdown bits to Huey. Like Huey's parts can be that part. I mean,
Yeah, but
There's
Hugh's
even-
boring as fuck.
I don't know.
Huey, no, I don't know about that.
I don't
Huey
think-
literally saw a man torch himself to death. And we're going to be
That
talking
was
about
cool.
that
And
next.
that was funny. I mean, it
That-
wasn't funny, but it was in that moment. Like
Huey
he's like,
is the
fucking
coach.
asshole. Like I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like he's the straight man for everyone's being silly. The moment he's in the group with like Mother's Milk, like his interactions with Mother's Milk, and whenever he's with Billy, when they're not obviously like I'm gonna punch you in the fucking face, they are pretty hilarious. So I
Yes.
think that there are moments where I think he could have been these things. I ultimately just think that if they're gonna lead this, well, now it feels like it doesn't make any goddamn sense. You know why? Because they killed the fucking leader of this cult thing. Like, what the fuck was this thing? What was even the point of this? Like,
I don't think
weird
it ends there.
cult things. I mean, you killed the top guy. That's why I'm just like, all right, well, what else are we doing here? Like,
Oh, cults like that. There's always it's like a hydra. Like you kill
No,
one
I
of
get
them,
that.
and then like 10 appear.
no, but at the same time, there was a face, and if you think of any major cult, there's always that face. Now the face of your cult's gone. So like, what is this thing? So I don't know. We'll see. It just, to me, just at the end of the day, the Deep was just pointless.
Okay.
I mean, there is that, like, even though like I do feel like those scenes were just comedic value and just kind of pointless, there is that like that triangle of like relationship between it. So like you have the church who's in with Vought, but you also have the church who is apparently also in with the senator, who hates Vought.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, how does this work? How is Vought going to retaliate for the church not being there to like, nurse these people to like come back into the fold or something like that?
You see, I think it's plays both ways. I think that Vought knows that the church plays both sides, but they don't really care. Like I think
care about profit.
it's for profit. I think that you scratch my back, I scratch yours. But if you're scratching somebody else's back, I don't really care. Does that make sense?
I mean, I am very interested to see like what this new threat being, the senator provides, because right now there isn't really a mastermind amongst any of these things. It's not Homelander. Homelander's in a fucking weird place at the end of the season.
Yep.
Literally. So when it comes to like what is their grand plan going forward, I'm curious about it. Like, what's her goals? What is her intent? Obviously, other than the things that we know that she's pretending, it's possible that she is, but in the same way that Stormfront was playing a double-edged sword of like, fuck Vought, but also we're trying to build super heroes. I'm curious as to what she has to bring to the rest of the show. I will say that now that we are in a certain place with this show, I think it will probably reflect more of the comic book, and I think I've heard the co-creators say this exact thing, where there will be a sanctioned force known as the Boys that will go in and actually wreck shop. So we'll see how that plays out, because one of my favorite things in the book, even if you do read it, is when they beat up the fucking Teen Titans, basically, which are like all sex addicts.
Yeah, that would have had to happen like really early though. That was like, I think
no, but that could still happen. But that could still happen now, is what I'm saying. That's literally what they're saying.
Yeah, I think that these first two seasons were like before the comics, if that makes sense. I haven't read the comics, so I couldn't tell you.
No, but they totally went a totally different direction. But now they are literally at the beginning point of what the comics are, where they're a fiction group now. That's literally what they said. Yeah, and that's what the creator said. Yep. So that's why I'm like, this is literally what they're leading to, which is they're going to be a force that has to deal with the fact that these soups need to be in check.
Well, here's the thing:
is the world going to know? Maybe not, but I'm just saying.
I don't think it's going to be fully. I think it's.
I'm not saying it's
going to take elements like that.
That's what I'm saying.
I feel like they're going to take one big element out of that equation, or in that equation, which is the Billy Butcher problem. And the Billy Butcher problem, it has been already hinted in this season with with Mallory. I think she says it after Huey gets hurt. It's that Billy's always looking for a fight. Billy's always like, even if we finish what we do here, Billy is gonna find a way to keep going and going and going. And
I think that's what the task force will end up being.
At least in the comic book verse, Billy had that motivation since day one, because of how his wife and child die, or how the wife and child die in the comics. And I guess I could spoil that now because we already know how it ends up here.
Spoilers, bro!
Right? In the comic,
it could still happen.
Instead of the kid actually being born, the kid actually comes through his wife's like stomach as he's being born, and he has to fight a fetus, like, and kill that. So both of them are dead in the comic, and from there on, you have that constant Billy Butcher fight. Now that he has the kid and his wife is dead, you now have that like motivation for Billy Butcher, but you have that other part to it where it's like, well, you do have the kid, and you also have to maybe be a role model to the kid, because his current role model, Homelander, is an absolute fucking psychopath.
But also Billy Butcher is also an absolute fucking psychopath.
Yeah, I think he's going to go back to unhinged Billy. Where
I don't think it's going to take long before that happens. No. Even if it's like fucking little kid. I don't even know what the little kid's name is. Like she goes with that sweet old lady.
Mallory.
Mallory. Like Mallory is the same. No, not the FBI agent. The other one. Is that her name, Mallory? The one that's watching the dog. Is it Mallory?
That's it. That's his.
That's what I'm saying.
His aunt.
That's what I meant. The kid will go there, not the Mallory, the FBI agent.
Maybe.
And then he could do his duties as whatever his day job is. I don't know. We'll see. But I think that's exactly what they said that they're going to probably head towards. Whatever they end up leading to that, how many episodes that will take. They did say that Huey is out of that equation, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I don't know. I'm very curious about, like I said, what is the direction of this third season? Clearly, it is about creating a task force to keep these soups in line.
Yeah. Can we talk about how fucking adorable Himiko and Frenchie are?
Yeah, I thought that was gonna happen, and go right ahead.
Maybe he's got something.
No, I was just gonna say they were adorable.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
they
okay.
were.
Absolutely
They were
fucking
adorable.
adorable. I love every.
No, I
single
just
scene
got
they're
really
in.
excited.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, for sure.
because like I'm gonna be honest, like one of my absolute favorite scenes was the night that Kimiko was chasing after her brother and then her brother got away. And then Frenchie comes out of the vehicle to help her in, and then he says mon cœur, which means my heart in French. So he calls her my heart, and I'm like, I'm dead. I absolutely die every single time he said, because I'm like, it's so cute. I'm like, why? Why would you say? I'm like, I had to watch that scene like a few times because I'm like, he said it so like sincerely, and I'm like, this is probably like F every other like character romance in this show. Like, I need Kimiko and Frenchie.
No,
Yeah,
Because I don't care about anything else. Like F Huey and Starlight, I could care less about like Homelander and like all of his relationships because he's a weirdo. Like even like Billy Butcher and his wife's storyline, nothing in comparison to like Frenchie and Kimiko.
Yeah.
So
to be fair
Yeah.
to Billy Butchers, I will say it's just because we don't see a lot of it on screen. We see a lot of Kimiko and Frenchie. I will say that they are my favorite triangle or love story in this series.
yeah.
Especially where it develops at the end of it. I will say there was a lot of this sort of like will they won't they at the very beginning, but I think they're in a good place now where I'm like they're opening up to each other, and I think that's great. I do have to point out though that one of the most interesting characters is just an Asian character that doesn't speak, is very mysterious.
Yep.
I think that kind of sucks, but again, that's the character, so there we go. I mean, that's what she is in the comic book.
What makes
Yeah.
it interesting is that, yeah, she can't speak, but like she wants to. You
Yeah.
can tell she's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, when she
bursting
laughed,
with things to say.
oh, when she laughed, oh, so
There's that part where like and honestly, my favorite episode of the whole of the season 2 was definitely that whole like
Yeah.
where they're at the asylum and they're talking to each other, and like you see Frenchie just kind of like let it all out, and you get a side of the character that I don't even like. My memory is a little shoddy, but I don't think you even get that in the comic. And then there's that part where like they're in the church and he's like, well, you're doing blood money now, and you can tell she's pissed, but she can't say it, and you can tell just
Yeah.
by the way she's doing
Yeah.
her sign language, like this is, if she could yell, she would totally be doing it, but she can't because she doesn't have the ability to speak. And that,
Yeah.
I think, speaks leagues more than anybody who can speak on this TV show.
Yeah,
And I
like honestly, I agree. Like continue.
No, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that like even though she wasn't talking, she was still like communicating in like her own way. Like you could tell like when she was upset or like if she was like happy about something. Like she had to like essentially overact to be able to get those particular emotions out to like, indicate that like Kimiko was like upset like when they were in the church and he was just trying to stop her, and she's just like, I'm gonna do what I want, like F you, I could not care less, like I'm gonna do what I want. I'm like obviously upset because of my brother and I'm gonna find my own way because it's only me. And I think she struggled with that through the season when she was realizing that like now my brother's gone, like it's just me. And then Frenchie's like constantly like, I'm here for you, and she's just like, I couldn't like I've been alone. I've dealt with this alone. I'm just going to continue doing this alone. And so the progression from that to her realizing and teaching him how to actually do the sign language that she's created with her brother is like a real like kind of like character move and like progression or like narrative that she's trusting him and wants to like bring him into her world, which is like really helpful. So I hope like hopefully like maybe season 3 she might either talk or they'll continue to use this sign language so we can tell
Yeah.
what she's thinking.
I'm hoping their bond just becomes so tight that they're just, They just know.
He knows. Yeah,
They just
exactly.
know
That he,
what they mean
Yeah.
or what they feel.
Yeah.
And not that he speaks for her, but that it's a forwarding thing, but in terms of like they communicate in a way that makes the team even stronger.
Yeah.
Man, I gotta say, man, my favorite characters on the show are both Frenchie and then Mother's Milk for
Mother's Milk's so
Pacific
good.
Girl.
Mother
and
Milks
Mother's
is so good.
The Mother's Milk, the reason why I say it's my favorite character is because he fits that role of a motherly character in
Yep.
terms of he is always there for
Yeah.
everybody. He's always there in terms of like, even when he's mad, he like explains it in a way that is like, fuck, I fucking feel what you're feeling. And he understands why he can't be, why the other person's doing the way that they're doing. Like his interaction with
Yeah.
Huey this season was phenomenal. And then when he
thinks
got
about it.
he thinks about it. I mean,
Yeah.
the fact that he relates to Starlight and as like one of the first characters outside of Huey, really to accept her, to bring her in, I thought was great. Yeah, I don't know. Mother's Milk is fantastic. I wish they did more with him.
Yeah,
personally,
same here.
but I'm glad that Frenchie is to me getting a spotlight. Shout out, he wore an AEW shirt at the very beginning of the show, of the season, I should say. But yeah, I it's funny. I want Billy Butcher to be my favorite character. I really wanted him to be this season my favorite character, but he's not, and that troubles me. But I'm glad that everyone else on the show is getting a spotlight. Like I even like Jack Quaid personally. I find him very personal. I will say I'm getting a little tired of the Billy Joel references. As much as I love Billy Joel, there was a lot of them.
I was like, dude, I'm getting tired of Billy Joel. Just stop fucking mentioning Billy Joel already. I get it. You like
Okay.
Billy Joel.
Guys, jeez.
Yeah, I just like I love you. I love Billy Joel too, but still, just
Did I not tell you the theme song for this show is Billy Joel?
no. Oh no!
Shit.
Abort.
Billy Joel.
Or
My question to everyone else is what did you feel about Starlight?
I honestly am so indifferent to Starlight.
Sure.
Like the part that really kind of solidified my like I can't tell if she's really as altruistic as she seems is when she almost fucking killed Huey to save her life. And she almost did it. The light was there. If Homelander was not stopped, Huey would be dead.
Sure.
So I honestly don't know if she's putting on an act. I don't know if maybe they're gonna 180 the character at some point. I mean, she seems good now,
Well,
but
if I can defend her a little bit, there is that ambiguity of like, what's Huey's motivations, right? This guy who came in her life, didn't tell her what he was doing, obviously, because why would he? But at the same time, it's like, what is his actual motivations? Does he actually care about her? Is like, I know that some terrible fucking shit at that point had happened to Starlight.
yeah.
By far, yes. But at the same time, it's like, could she trust that guy? I mean, again, it's all set up. But that's that's where my respect for that moment. But yeah, that's all I'm saying. But yeah.
So I don't even see how Frank can think that she's like she might be, turning 180. I think she proved that she was all in with Huey once she killed that guy that they took
So
for
here,
the
I was just gonna mention that.
hospital scene.
Oh no, what are you
Yeah.
doing?
So here's where I think maybe not now, but we're gonna get a darker Starlight in the next season because that guy's not dead. He got a concussion. He's gonna live. But they when they get in the car, they show one thing, and I love it. It's the baby.
seat
It's the baby
in
seat in
the
the
back.
back.
Yep.
And I guarantee you that, like, if you ever see what happens to people with concussions, that either that man's gonna be really messed up mentally, like he might not even remember he even has a kid. He might be, comatose for all we know. You know what
How
I
do
mean?
you
Like,
know that he's not really dead?
she checks his pulse.
Yeah, he's alive.
Yeah, she checks his pulse to make sure he isn't
Not
dead.
dead.
Oh shit! I thought he died.
No, he ain't dead.
No.
She goes up to him, makes sure that he isn't dead.
You're gonna
Because if he
call a
died,
hospital.
there
Yeah, you're right,
would
you're
be a
right.
complete different.
That's because they were talking about, we should get to a hospital
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guarantee you that man, she's gonna visit that man next season to see if he's okay, and he's not gonna be okay.
I don't think she will. I think that something is probably going to happen where that guy comes back and it's not really a hostage situation, but he like comes to confront her. And I think that between this season and between what happened then and that interaction, I think that Billy is going to have more influence on her, and she's just going to turn darker.
Mm-hmm.
Especially,
I like that too. The guy
yeah.
coming back too. I like that as well.
What do you think,
Yeah.
Fee?
About Starlight?
Yeah.
Sure. What's your opinion?
I like honestly, I was a little bit indifferent. I understand like season 1, she definitely had to deal with a lot of like Huey's like, oh, I'm not actually doing this. Oh, I don't know where one of your mates is. I don't know where translucent is. I have no connection with it. And then finding out like, oh, it did do this. So like the trust issue is still there. And I think through this season, she was able to kind of trust Huey more, especially in comparison to season 1. So kind of seeing that progression and having her like, okay, at the beginning, and then her almost killing him in the cave, I think that was her like kind of weighing her options. I think it was a matter of like, he's lied to me in the past. Why is he here? I'm now like, I have Homelander looking at me and it's either I'm going to kill him or he's going to kill us both. And so I know it's not the most ideal situation, or like even like thought that she may even have killed Huey if he had been stopped. But I think it makes sense for the character for her to go to that position. Like I think that was before the hospital scene, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Yes, because now I remember, because Kimiko, her brother had been dead by that point. So I think that was her progression, was she didn't trust Huey, then she kind of did, and then she saw him in the cave, and then was debating her options, and then she really solidified that she was a part of the boys, or at least supporting of the boys at the hospital scene, and then her dealing with that guy in his car. So I think it was a matter of like shutting this book on season 1, like fears of trusting Huey, to I'm all in, because it's at this point it's either she had to have been all in or she was out. Like she can't be like teetering between the two. She made it very clear that she's part of the boys, and that's why her character ends up getting like locked up, and then her getting saved, and then them all fighting Stormfront. Which right now I know there's another character that's like teetering like between just her own options and just the 7 is like Queen Maeve.
Yeah.
Because we didn't see too much of her this season because she was so rattled about the plane, but she really realized, like, I think Queen saw like herself in Starlight, and so she's just like that was me when I first started, and this is what before, like she's me before the 7, and now it's progressed to been so corrupted, and then she had this hesitation throughout the season to, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna help Starlight because this is what I actually wanted to do. Like this is like once again her being like, you know what, this is my path and this is what I'm going to be doing. So I think if it wasn't for Starlight, I think some of the characters are different, and I think that her progress through the season, and I keep on saying progress, my apologies, because it's an entire season we're talking about, seeing her character go from point like the beginning to the end, it was needed. And I think it makes her more real that she had that contemplation between, do I choose myself and both of us, or if I kill him. So I think that was actually a needed scene to kind of show that she still didn't really trust him at that point. So I think it was overall a good play on their part.
Yeah.
Yes.
I do want to say about Queen Maeve specifically. She actually ended up being like I wouldn't say the Trojan horse, but basically the thrust that saves so many people in the season. She saves. She appears in that moment to fight Stormfront, and it was like, fuck yeah, that song kicks in. That's awesome. She comes and saves. Starlight again. In the 7 office, and then she comes and saves fucking Billy Butcher at the end with that fucking video. So her last arc to me was like, please, thank you so much, but I'm afraid of what's gonna happen for next season.
I'm a little afraid for me
Honestly,
too.
Yeah.
Like I thought, like, to be honest, the way that her story was progressing through the season, I thought that she was going to die in that fight. Like last
Oh
fight,
yeah,
I
me too.
thought that was her going to be like, I'm going out in blaze of glory because like she's gone down a super dark path this season, going from like
Yep.
I'm Queen Maeve, everyone loves me, to oh, now I'm just a Joe character because Homelander's mad, and then she lost essentially the person that she loved the most, and then she had to like play releasing that video on the plane, and then realizing that oh, like what I wanted to be when I first started, going back to what I mentioned, was she probably had the same like expectations that's um, Starlight had. Like everything's great. Like I'm gonna be a superhero. I get to help people. To realizing that what she did in season 1, and it's really like eating at her. So I think if they had character there, I would have been like this. Like this is her. Like I'm gonna redeem myself. But I think she's probably going to end up in season 3 either like going after Homelander or doing something that may end that character, which makes me really upset because I love Queen Maeve, but I think it makes sense for her story, which makes me really upset to say.
I know,
but I think
it just feels like
if you're
that's the
thinking
arc.
yeah, it's not like it seems like by the end of season 3 I think she might be dead, and that makes me upset, but I think she'll do
I hope
something
not.
incredible before she does it. Oh,
Yeah.
believe me, like I want her to be like End Girl, like she will be alive at the end, but I don't think that's going to be the case, which makes me really upset.
I think
But
that
yeah, that's just
GoPro
what I
gets
think.
destroyed, and it doesn't go well, and I'm scared. She needs better security, by the way. Just having it in a drawer.
Yeah.
I think she has a backup somewhere. Did she?
Even
I don't think
so.
she showed. I don't think she showed a GoPro at the end. I think she showed a phone.
No,
No, it's the same.
The
It's the same
GoPro
device.
was connected to the phone.
No,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine like
oh.
her like partner got a recording, or at least like made a copy of it, because I think
We're not together at the end, right?
the play.
I don't remember.
Oh, that would be a
They're
cool
not,
scene,
but I
like-
think that she.
Oh, sorry. Continue.
Yeah. Sorry,
Oh no, I was just. No worries. I was just gonna say that it would make sense for her to have like a copy, like maybe
No,
in
it
season
would.
3 you find out that she took the GoPro.
Yeah, I think that if her character arc goes to where she's dead at the end of season 3, that Elena is probably gonna like just release the footage
Mm-hmm.
on this.
I could definitely see it though. Like, 'cause the only other person that knows of the existence of this footage is Billy Butcher at this point, and I could see that being like but I could see it being an objective in the middle of the season, or
Mhm.
like shit's gone to hell. We need this footage to do whatever. But then it's that swerve of like, well, now it's gone. You know, that's what I'm afraid of that they could do.
You see, I thought that
Yeah.
what I thought May's character arc was gonna be was like, that's it. She's no longer afraid of what Homelander can do. So now that Homelander is going to be essentially a homicidal maniac, she's going to be the leader of the 7, and she has to rein him in along with everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would be a better character arc for her instead of having her killed at the end of season 3. But that's just me. That's what I thought.
Yeah. One thing I did want to mention in the beginning was like the duality between Billy Butcher and Homelander, because when you think about it, they're very, very similar, and they might not have the exact same upbringing, but they have very similar upbringings. Like,
Yeah.
when you think about like Homelander in the sense of like his family, technically superheroes are his family because they're all bred from the same laboratory.
True.
So he is the best of his brothers and sisters. Same thing with Billy Butcher. He was better than Lenny, and his father idolized him over everybody else, whereas like Vought idolized Homelander over all the other superheroes. They were both bred to be the best. And it definitely shows how much it took a toll on both of those characters, whereas Billy constantly thinks he can do whatever he wants to do. Homelander thinks he can constantly do whatever he wants to do. But then in this season, like I said earlier, you start to see little glimpses of humanity through them, like the wall that Billy puts up in front of people so he doesn't he doesn't see what happened to Lenny again, especially in Huey. It starts to break down just a little bit. And the same thing with Homelander when he starts to have his kid, where it's just like there's finally somebody who understands the struggle I go through, and he doesn't have to be as idolized as I was, especially during that scene where he takes him to, I guess, Disney World or Vought World. I don't know what
Yeah.
they called it.
It's like in the cafeteria.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Homelander did, like, from that point backwards, he didn't understand the kid. He was just trying to fill a void that he thought he had. Whereas after he saw the kid like do the thing with the ears, I guarantee you he probably felt like, oh, well, that's happened to me before. Shit, this kid is just like me.
Yeah.
I shouldn't really be thinking of training him like Vought. I should train him like a person.
Yes.
Yeah.
But does
Like,
that character
I-
know what it means to be a
continue.
person? That's all. Go ahead, continue.
No, I was gonna say, like, I almost thought that, like, the last 2 episodes, it felt Billy was becoming less of a person, and then Homelander was actually becoming a person. Like,
Mhm.
Billy was becoming, like, very much like, I'm only thinking of myself. Like, him saying, like, you know what, let's just get rid of the kid. I'm gonna have my wife, I'm gonna give the kid away, and that'll be the end of it. I'll have my wife in the end. Everything's gonna go back to normal, which obviously in the real world, or even in this particular world, it's not going to be the same. Like, obviously she loved the boy, but then Homelander realized, like, oh, this is literally me, but like as a young boy, I can make his life a lot better by not having him in the same state that I was. Because I think, like, at the beginning of the season, Homelander was becoming insane. Like, he was thinking about taking out an entire, like, protest. Like, he was just
Yeah.
thinking in his head, like, I could turn on my eyes right now and just blast all down to the ground because you guys hate me. Like, and then he realized that, oh, I have a son. And I think that at the beginning he was just like, oh, it's someone who's like me, like, he'll be just as great. But after seeing his son and seeing that his son is essentially human, but just with powers, and I think it put Homelander in perspective that I'm also just a human with powers, and I need to protect this little like kid. Like, I think when he went into the cabin and saw that all the Vought people there and with guns pointing them at him, and he's just like, where's my son? And he took all of them out, proceeded to get himself covered in blood, but I think that was his way of being like, I need to know where my son is right now, because the parent
Exactly.
instinct
It
is
can't be
I
Vought.
need like, I
It's-
need to, like, save this particular, like, child. No, it was the government who needed to get the kid, I thought. But it was very much like he wanted to protect the kid, whereas Billy, I think up until when his wife died, he could not care less for the kid.
Yep.
But then he's just like, I don't like, I want my wife back. This kid is Homelander. Like, he only, like, was putting him into almost like a file folder, and it's like Homelander, and it's like the kid. Like, I do
Yep.
not care for the
Mhm.
kid. I could not care less. But then when Billy realized, like, that is an extent, like, it's not just Homelander, it's an extension of my wife, that's when he
Yeah.
really started to actually care about it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. What I do agree with that for sure. I do find it interesting though that Homelander, when given the choice, still didn't choose the kid at the end of the day. He chose his vanity. He chose his status. He chose everything else than the kid. But that's just the only thing I noticed about that character.
I think, like, I definitely agree with that. I think at the same
Yeah.
time, he realizes that he's gone too far at this point. Like, if it had been like the beginning of season 1, maybe he could redeem himself, but with everything that had happened with that character, and then realizing there's the video and like what could happen to this kid. Whereas if this kid grew up with an actual person, or like humans, like people that are not me,
Yeah.
I think that was probably one of Homelander's, like, best decisions. Was, I realize that I'm not the best person for this kid, and I'm not gonna be able to take care of him. Even though I think in the long run, like, he obviously cares because now he's going, once again, crazy, but in his mind that, like, I think it was him actually doing a human decision and being like, I'm not the person or like, superhero that should have this kid with me.
So I think that in the beginning of the season 2, we see, not in the beginning, but in a couple episodes, we see Homelander like, oh yes, I have a son. He's just like me. And then when he tries to put him to fly, he just pushes him off the roof. And he's like, oh, he's fine. He's fine. He'll wake up. He's fine. And then he actually wakes up, and he's got very lucky that she did not just flip the fuck out on him. But at the scene where he's when they get to the cabin, he's like, he told me to get the hell out because like he's scared. He doesn't know what he's doing. After Vought World, I think once he goes back in and he talks him down, I think there was progress there where he's like, oh, I finally have a chance to have a family. I have Stormfront who could potentially lead to something, and I also have my kid. I'm hoping like this could be my family. And then that all goes away where you see his face when she goes, it's called white genocide, when she's talking to the kid, and he's like, ugh.
He's a nationalist, but he's not white national.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a sense of like, oh fuck, maybe this isn't the best person to be around this kid.
Exactly. I think I found it up here. And
Which
then
confuses me,
well, that may have been.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, it confuses the crap out of me because it's obvious that he's mad at the kid for killing Stormfront or hurting Stormfront pretty badly, which is why like he does that 180 at the end. But it's like you didn't necessarily agree with everything Stormfront said, so I don't.
Well, listen, that's why relationships are about compromise, and then you have to give and take. So, like, sure, he didn't like her racist.
It's 50-50.
And to be honest,
I bring the superpowers, you bring the racism.
I don't honestly think that he actually gives a shit about the racism part. I just think that it's just like, that messaging is a little not that great.
It's a little too much for me.
It's a little too much, but it doesn't mean that he does not love her. Like,
no,
listen, I'm I was going to say something personal about my life, and I'm like, I'm not going to do that. But you understand. Everyone's got those details. You're like, I can leave, take it or leave it, but I still enjoy you as a person.
There's one line that your significant other crosses that you're like, nah.
Listen, I don't want to listen to K-pop, but I'm glad that you like K-pop. All right.
Exactly.
You talking to me? I don't like K-pop.
In our relationship. Well, you're not a K-pop.
No, I'm an Omega K-pop fan. I am the biggest K-pop fan ever. Anyway,
you don't like K-pop.
No,
I love that joke's gonna land.
Damn, I forgot what I was gonna say about Homelander.
He sucks. Okay. Anyways,
his costume's really good.
His costume,
yes. Really good.
Yeah.
I wanted to draw a little parallel on the kid though. That kid draws a lot of parallels from, I believe, Superman. Because he's very hopeful. That kid is kind of a ray of hope for everybody. He brings out the humanity in Butcher. He brings out the humanity in Homelander. He like around him, he's very hopeful, and he's known to be the good one out of everybody. So if anybody is as close to Superman in this universe as we can get, that kid is young Clark Kent, just learning.
Yeah, but you see, I don't think he brought out the good in Butcher. I think Butcher's wife brought out the good in Butcher.
He had a choice. I mean, Butcher could have done anything, but he chose to have that kid with his wife because he knew, for one, that kid would probably be better with his wife, and two, his wife would be better with the kid.
Yeah, but I think it's more along the lines of I should probably, have the kid with her, because if not, she's gonna go crazy looking for him.
Yeah,
and she will never have what we used to have. I don't think it was really the kid that, tilted him to saving him. But that's just me.
We'll see next season. Honestly, they'll answer all those questions next season, most likely. If not, we'll see Jensen Ackles maybe piss himself.
Looking real forward to Jensen Ackles on screen again, It's been, it's still going.
15 seasons.
Yeah, I was going to say, like...
It's always been on the CW.
I love that show. And, it's crazy how he looks exactly how he did when he first started the show.
Yeah, hasn't much changed.
I mean, if you look at a photo comparison, you could definitely see where he's aged, and he's now more muscular than he was in season 1. But I'm very excited to see.
Also, Jensen Ackles for Red Hood, please.
Yes, finally, somebody said it.
He's gonna be older than the Batman, I think.
Nobody cares. Nobody
Nobody
cares.
cares. I don't care how old that man is. I want him to play Red Hood.
Yeah. If you got to do some VO for him, by all.
Listen, that's
by
why
all means,
online.
yeah.
That's why online content's great. You know, I'll just do a video with him as the Red Hood in an online video.
But even just bring back Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne. You know,
They are.
well, but like with a Red
No.
Hood movie. You know,
No.
Under the Red Hood. Look, okay, listen, he's not a Red Hood stan like us, all right?
of
Like, he
course.
did-
Of course he's not. You would think with the red hair that he.
It's not
is.
red.
well, it's purple. His is purple. Mine's red.
My apologies. My apologies. It looks
Actually,
red
yours
to
is looking pretty red today.
Yeah, it's just because the lighting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Does anybody have anything else they want to bring up before?
I've basically said all my piece on the boys. I love this show. The show is great.
Mhm.
I didn't think I would love the show as much as I did, especially because the comic is so terrible. The comic is terrible. I'm sorry. It's a shit comic. It's literally written it's like Mad TV in comic book form without a filter.
It's the
Yeah,
about
fascination
superheroes.
of comic book.
But
So, like,
what they've done with the show is amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Marty,
Nobody,
do you
needs to hear,
have-
nobody needs to hear what I just said.
Okay.
I didn't even hear what you just said.
I didn't hear what he said. I'll find out later.
I'll say it. If masturbation was a comic book, it's called The Boys.
Oh
Yeah,
boy.
yeah, basically, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Mario, do you have anything else to say about The Boys season 2?
No, I think if you enjoy superheroes and deconstruction of superheroes, I think it is a solid choice. And it's only like 8 episodes long or something like that.
8 episodes.
Super short seasons, which is a beautiful thing. If I learned watching several UK shows, shorter seasons is the ideal way. None of these 22 epics, the filler
mean,
episodes. Nah.
15 episodes, maybe 13.
It depends on the show, but I think
Yeah.
that this was the perfect length in terms of like in and out. What I also do want to say is the way that it's distributed. Sure, give me that big taste at the beginning, give me those 3 episodes, but then week by week, I
Perfect.
keep coming back and I keep talking about it and I keep bringing
Yes.
it up.
Yeah.
Because like right now, we're in the middle of Blind Man or week 2, I think,
Yep.
and this conversation is going to end super quick. Like no
Just-
one's going to remember the show until next year.
Uh-huh.
And that is the problem with Netflix. As much as I love some of their shows they do, like Umbrella Academy, Lock and Key, and stuff like that, the conversation for those shows just dies so quickly. Can you
Yeah.
believe that freaking whatchamacallit was this year?
Whatchamacallit?
Tiger King. Tiger King was this year. So.
Oh, did you hear that the one of the guys got arrested for tiger
How did-
trafficking?
Tiger trafficking.
I'm sure.
He thought was a mentor. I forgot what his name is.
Oh, probably the guy that worked on like Dr. Doolittle. I think I know you're talking about.
Yeah, where he
Took
was
pic-
like
took
on
pictures
a-
of the Undertaker.
I don't know about that, but like he
Yeah.
has a pretty much a whole village
A brothel?
of women.
Brothel?
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, I didn't want
Makes
to go
sense.
brothel, but yeah,
Makes
yeah.
sense. Yeah. Anyways,
Fee.
good to,
yeah. Fee, do you have anything else you want to say about The Boys season 2?
I honestly was really lucky to get into The Boys when I did because I honestly before a month ago I did. So I had watched season 1 and then watching season 2, and I think that for a superhero show and just like a online TV show in general, I think they did really, really well. And I think that they did the right moves and stuff, even though there were a few questionable things that happened through the season. But I think it was really, really well done. And I'm very excited to see season 3.
Okay. My final words are the deep forever.
Get deeper.
The deep gets deeper.
Get
I like
deep
it.
gets deeper.
you know what that guy did at the beginning of the season to get where he is right now. You guys are just weird.
I'm just
I'm
saying,
not-
like
I
he's
don't
a
say I
funny
didn't say I like. I
character,
said fuck
okay?
Aquaman.
I did say fuck Aquaman.
Yeah, fuck
You can take it to the
Aquaman.
bank.
Aquaman, never mind.
You can take it to the bank.
I'm gonna be honest. I haven't been a fan of his since season 1. Actually, no, season
Aquaman?
1,
Like-
episode 1.
Yeah.
So
fuck
yeah, the
Aquaman.
deep can.
That dude can suck it.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I
turn.
think the actor is just fine.
Okay,
Just the character.
I liked him in Gossip Girl.
I didn't even know he was in Gossip Girl. Good for him.
he was.
Yeah, he's one of the main characters in Gossip Girl.
I didn't
Yeah.
watch Gossip Girl.
I might say this was a better jump in his career.
You could say Book of the Beppo.
Wow,
Like,
no.
yeah.
Abominable B. Gilmore Girls.
He wasn't Gilmore Girls.
No. There's a very good Gilmore Girls reference in the show, and I love it.
Oh, okay.
That was good. All right, that was good.
Okay. Well, thank you guys. Oh, before I say thank you guys, I should probably do some plugs. Always forget about those plugs. Mario, where can people find you?
You can find me at twitter.com/that Mario Rivera, where I do all of my musings, all my postings. I just did a long multi-tweet thread about my top 10 videos that I've done this year because it is now my 1-year anniversary with DualShockers.
Ooh, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much. And then, of course, you can probably find me on IGN and Kind of Funny. If you look at their recent feeds, you'll be able to see me on some of their other content. By the time this comes out, I will be on DLC with Jeff Kanata, which I'm super, super excited about. I'm a huge fan of Jeff Kanata. And the last thing, obviously, is that I am on twitch.tv/that Mario Rivera, where I'm now an affiliate. I can get subs. So if you like me and you want to support me, by all means, I will get an emote soon. I promise. Stop yelling at me.
Okay. Well, like I said again, I'm humbled that you were able to join us today.
No, absolutely.
It's that Mario Rivera.
I'm a simple man, all right? I'm not that.
Yeah, but you know, like you had a hectic week. You were on Kind of Funny. You were with Jeff Kanata. Was it today?
That will be later today. I will be doing that. So by the time this comes out, hopefully,
this will probably come out. This will come out tomorrow. So yeah.
Turns out I broke my own heart.
Oh no.
I was doing nothing. I was playing a solitary game.
Okay. Frank, where can people find you?
I am on Twitch as Venom Unfit Snake. Please sub to me. I need subs. I want to get affiliate one day. I'm broke. I'm eating straight up fucking beans out of a can. Please, somebody sub to me on stream. I'll eat beans out of a can on stream for subs.
God.
Follow me on Twitter at Venom Unfit Snake. It shows up as Boneless Pumpkin. Argue with me about why artificial grape is the best flavor. If you don't agree with me, we can have some fucking words.
Artificial grape?
This isn't a discussion today. It's a discussion on my Twitter. You want words? You got to post it.
Okay. All right. We'll do.
Shit, sorry.
It's a wrong take, but sure. You know, my podcasts have a reoccurring theme for the hottest takes of the internet, and quite frankly, that was the hottest one.
Good. Fight me on it, Twitter.
Oh, I will.
At Venom Unfit Snake, Boneless Pumpkin, coming at you with some hot takes.
Okay. Fee, where can people find you?
People can find me on Twitter at twitter.com/Zoranix. The same for Twitch, twitch.tv/Zoranix. On Instagram, the same thing, Zoranix. It is Z, not Z, URANIIX. I also have an art Instagram as well that I'm going to start posting up again, which is fiona.create. Yeah, art. I love art. And yeah, we also play a bunch of games over on my Twitch. We play Among Us and DBD, which I'm going to have to stream later on this week. So if you like multiplayer games and you want to join us, feel free to drop by.
Well, okay then. And you can find me. Sorry, I had to cough. You could find me on Twitter at PenConquest, on Instagram at PenConquest, and on Twitch at Penultimate Conquest. This week I might be doing some streaming with. Actually, today I might be streaming the Cold War beta. So let's see how that goes.
On PC?
No, man. PC? No.
Man.
Consoles for life.
I'm leaving.
You should be leaving. Thank you, everyone, for joining me today. I really appreciate it. You don't know how much this means to me. All right. Have a good night, guys.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Fuck you,
Bye.
Batman.
Yeah.